The transition from high school to college was one of the scariest of my life. Before going to Cornell, I was a small town video game addicted teenager. The first semester at college was chaos. I lost my whole 14-person friend group, switched majors, and considered dropping out. One of the books that helped me most during this time was Stumbling Upon Happiness by Daniel Gilbert. In his book, Gilbert explains the uniquely human ability to retrieve memories of the past, perceive the present, and imagine the future. And in this video, we're gonna explore the 3 major concepts from the book and the lessons I took from them to help me become a happier college student. First, our memories of the past are inaccurate. And this led to my first lesson, which is my next few weeks at college are probably going to be better than I think they are. Our perceptions of the present are skewed, which led to my second lesson. My way of seeing the world is different from other students, and that's okay. Thirdly, our imaginations of the future are often wrong, which led to my third lesson. I don't have to have my 4 years at college planned out. Memories of the past are inaccurate. One of Gilbert's major points is that our memories of the past are inaccurate. People tend to think their memories are quite good. This is because our process for storing experiences in memory is usually unconscious. It only becomes a conscious process when we deliberately try to remember something more deeply. To understand why, we must delve into how we store, remember, and alter memories. When encoding experiences into memory, our mind doesn't take a streamlined running video. It takes snapshots, usually during the peak and ends of an experience. The experience becomes a summary phrase such as playing Minecraft was fun, or a small set of key features such as physics-defying lava castle, diamond find, or pig slaughtering. In effect, our memories of the past are our best broad, valuable summaries of the actual experience. And when remembering these broad, valuable experiences, we recall the snapshots our brain stored and fabricate a narrative to fill in the sections between. For example, our memories of going to the zoo becomes a summary. It was hot, and the pandas were cool. Remembering the event years later, we might falsely believe the sun created heat waves and we got ice cream while watching the pandas. These are pretty reasonable assumptions because we remember it was hot. In essence, our brain weaves together our memory snapshots to create a narrative when remembering. Finally, every time our brain remembers a memory, it's slightly altered. This effect is moderated based on our present state, context, and how we would like to see that memory. For example, I might want to remember my midnight peanut butter binge as a healthy bulk for the gym. Over time, as I remember the memory more and more, it starts to seem like a positive thing. All in all, our memories of the past are inaccurate. This culminates in one insidious effect. We overestimate the recurrence of unusually emotional or rare events. Infrequent or unusual experiences are often the most memorable. We remember when we failed a test, got a terrible professor, or slogged through a group project. We don't remember the many more times we got a perfectly nice professor, did decently well on a test, or had fun in a group project. Because these experiences are the most memorable, they are more available in our mind, and we falsely believe they are more likely to happen in the future than they are. This leads to our first lesson. My next few weeks at college are probably going to be better than I think they are. Because of how your memory works, you might assume the next few weeks will be riddled with the difficult things mentioned earlier, but this is based on your inaccurate memories of the past. In reality, your next few weeks at college will be filled with many good moments and a couple meh ones. It's going to be better than you think. When I realized this, I stopped fooling myself into the cognitive traps many college students wrap themselves in, called the hamster wheel of death. The hamster wheel of death is the constant wheel of homework, studying, sleep deprivation, and more that students can get stuck on when they don't see any hopes for the immediate future. It's mostly a result of believing that the next few weeks will be worse than they will be. In reality, you might see friends, have a movie night, play video games, and so much more. Don't let your false memories of the past dissuade you from appreciating the small things in the present. Gilbert's second major lesson is that our perceptions of the present is skewed. Most people think they respond to reality, when in fact they respond to their subjective interpretation of reality. This is because everyone comes to the same objective situation with different KSOs, knowledge, skills, abilities, and other characteristics, where other typically includes traits like personality, attitudes, and interests. These differing KSOs cause people to attend to different things in the same environment. In effect, they take away different subjective interpretations of reality. Even if they did attend to the same objective stimuli as each other, they would still take away different subjective interpretations. Gilbert and countless modern cognitive scientist studies have shown the brain agrees to believe what the eyes see, but the eyes see what the brain believes. Remember earlier how wanting to perceive something a certain way when remembering the past can alter our memory of it? Similarly, wanting to perceive something in the present a certain way literally makes your eyes see things differently. You see the world the way you want to see it. This leads to my second main happiness boosting lesson. My way of seeing the world is different from other students, and that's okay. Other students perceive the world differently, and thus it's only natural they will form different opinions than me. Similarly, my opinions result from my unique perspective of the world. This is making me happier because I no longer feel I have to feel bad just because I see the world differently than others. Instead, I should see it as a learning experience. That's what college is for. College is an environment for fostering intellectual and social growth. It brings together a range of diverse, passionate people and exposes them to the greatest ideas of the modern day. At Cornell, the school slogan is literally any person, any study. There are so many people way smarter and more driven than I am. When I first came across them, I was incredibly intimidated. Who wouldn't be? But now I understand there is nothing inherently wrong about having different opinions than them. They come from different backgrounds and therefore perceive the world differently. Comparing my ideas, habits, routines, or practically anything would be biased. This doesn't mean I shouldn't compare, but it does mean I can learn from others without a feeling of ineptitude. The third major insights from Gilbert's book is that our imaginations of the future are often wrong. The first reason for this is our present state biases our imaginations of the future. When imagining the future, humans tend to extrapolate their present self state without realizing it. For example, one semester during the add/drop period at Cornell, I got into a book called Marshall McLuhan's Extending the Mind. And after reading it, I was super into the idea of communication and media. So naturally, when the add/drop period came later that day, I decided to switch my major and sign up for all communication classes. During the second add/drop period the next semester, I looked at my class decisions with utter confusion. What was I thinking? I allowed my present state to severely influence my future imagination for a college major. Human beings are also terrible at imagining how a future event will affect them emotionally. Say someone asks how badly you would feel if you failed a major test a couple of days after the fail. You would likely overpredict how sad you would be. This is because you're failing to consider all the fantastic things that could happen between failing your test and those 2 days. Sound familiar? It's the same tendency mentioned earlier for overpredicting how bad the next few weeks will be. In reality, you will likely feel much better than you think you will from an emotional event. Now for the real nail in the coffin. Remember earlier how we discussed our memories of the past are false and our perceptions of the present are skewed? These two things combine to form a double whammy because when forming imaginations of the future, we use false memories and skewed perceptions as our foundation. Our imaginations of the future are doomed to be wrong. We start with faulty foundations. This leads to my third major happiness boosting lesson. I don't have to have my 4 years at college planned out. What major should I pick? What career path should I go for in the next 50 years? What classes should I take over the next 4 years at college? Questions like these are common among college students, but they all require imagining a future. But as we know, we aren't good at imagining a future our future selves will probably like. Only a future our present self thinks sounds good. So I've stopped needing to plan everything down to a T. I have some long-term goals and a major plan that give me direction, but I understand these plans aren't set in stone. As I change throughout my college experience, my interests will change, and I must be willing to change my plans alongside them. The stress of having to know everything is going away. I can focus some attentional faculties on planning, but invest most of it into enjoying the present moment as much as possible. I feel so much happier as a result. We humans are silly things. Our memories of the past are inaccurate, our perceptions of the present are skewed, and our imaginations of the future are often wrong. In essence, we fail to accurately remember how happy we were in the past or how we can make ourselves happy in the future.